Yesterday, Donald Trump named his pick for Secretary of the Department of Education, Linda McMahon. Now, on its face, this appears to be far from Trump's most concerning staffing decision. McMahon served in Trump's first administration as the head of the Small Business Administration. She briefly served on Connecticut's State Board of Education back in 2009. But she is perhaps best known for stunts like this, ones that have gone viral since Trump's announcement, because McMahon co-founded World Wrestling Entertainment, or WWE, and was often in the ring herself for what we'll call skits. Now, nearly all of Trump's staffing announcements so far have been a circus. But if McMahon's ascent to the top of the Education Department seems particularly unserious, it's because Donald Trump does not take that department seriously. This is the vision for the Department of Education that Trump outlined while running for a second term.
We'll have one person plus a secretary, and all the person has to do is, are you teaching English? Are you teaching arithmetic? What are you doing? Reading, writing, and arithmetic. And are you not teaching woke? Not teaching woke is a very big factor.
One person and a secretary. As a candidate, Trump proposed abolishing the Department of Education, shrinking it down to a husk, so that children might be saved from woke indoctrination. As president-elect, Trump is not only doubling down on eliminating the Education Department, he says he wants to weaponize it against people of color with the goal of abolishing woke.
I will direct the Department of Justice to pursue federal civil rights cases against schools that continue to engage in racial discrimination and schools that persist in explicit, unlawful discrimination under the guise of equity will not only have their endowments taxed, a portion of the seized funds will then be used as restitution for victims of these illegal and unjust policies.
Aside from the anti-woke agenda, the centerpiece of Trump's education pitch is this:
sending all education and education work and needs back to the states. We want them to run the education of our children because they'll do a much better job of it. You can't do worse.
For the record, this is what the states are doing with their departments of education right now.
We are excited to announce a new office here in the Oklahoma State Department of Education. That will be the Office of Religious Liberty and Patriotism. For too long in this country, we've seen the radical left attack individuals' religious liberty in our schools. We will not tolerate that in Oklahoma.
That was Oklahoma Superintendent Ryan Walters, who has begun buying Bibles, and specifically Trump-branded Bibles, for use in classrooms, announcing a new Office of Religious Liberties that will, among other things, force students to watch a video of him praying. Meanwhile, over in Texas, education officials advanced a plan this week to incorporate material from the Bible into lesson plans. So that's the conservative agenda. Gut the federal Department of Education, weaponize it against low-income and minority citizens, and leave education decisions to the states that want to blur the line between church and state. Last month, when Donald Trump called education the civil rights issue of our time, he might have been onto something. President-elect Trump has outlined a vision for the future of American education, one that includes eliminating wokeness, slashing funding for schools that oppose his policies, infusing public school curricula with Christianity, and dismantling the Department of Education. Joining me now is Melissa Murray, professor of law at NYU and co-host of the indispensable Strict Scrutiny podcast. Melissa, help me understand if any of this can be stopped in the courts. I mean, first of all, just the whole church and state thing. Mm-hmm. How easy is it for Trump to reintroduce Christianity into public school curricula, writ large?
Okay, so last week in Louisiana, there was a challenge to a Louisiana law that requires the Ten Commandments to be prominently displayed in public school classrooms. A judge in Louisiana enjoined that law, said it clearly violated extant precedents demanding the separation of church and state. That case is on a fast track to the Supreme Court. It's going to go to the Fifth Circuit. We already know about the Fifth Circuit. The Fifth Circuit is the farm league for the Supreme Court. Right now, we have a number of Fifth Circuit judges auditioning to be the replacement for Justice Alito or Justice Thomas when they decide to step down. And then from there, it will likely go to the Supreme Court. And everyone understands that that challenge to that law is geared to be the vehicle for overruling cases like Engel versus Vitale, the 1960s era case that basically said you can't have school prayer. And so this is all happening. You had the Oklahoma public school superintendent on who's going to have a Bible in every classroom.
A Trump Bible.
A Trump Bible in every classroom. I mean, these are very clearly targeted at challenging the line between church and state and ultimately sending those cases to the courts, to the federal courts, where in his first administration, Donald Trump made sure that it was stocked with movement conservatives. So they're primed and they're ready to undo these precedents. And from there, they'll go to the Supreme Court, where Donald Trump has appointed a third of those justices. And there's a conservative 6-3 supermajority. And we'll see if we get to live in a multi-faith, plural democracy.
Well, yeah. And to say nothing of the fact that this has been on the right's agenda for literally 5 decades,
a long time,
right?
Yeah.
The woke part is the current, like the most current expression of their anti-inclusive, anti-civil rights agenda, right? Yeah. And I just wonder, when Trump says, I'm going to slash federal funding for any schools that don't comply with my anti-woke agenda, like, I assume there can be lawsuits in there. There can be discrimination lawsuits. I mean, this is so against the sort of tide of civil rights that has been part of our nation's history in recent years, but that this Supreme Court has not been particularly interested in upholding.
I almost feel the religion stuff has a better chance of being struck down.
Well, tell me why.
Well, so for years, the right has stoked and basically manipulated the promise of Brown versus education to stand for this principle that what Brown is really about is colorblind education, like race doesn't matter at all, which is why you can strike down affirmative action and say, because Brown mandates it. Brown says you can't think about race at all. And so if you take that frame in mind, obviously, efforts to expand diversity in schools, efforts to provide equity or to bring in viewpoints that historically have gone unventilated. All of those things now seem like they are color conscious, they are race conscious, and therefore they're constitutionally impermissible. We've already seen this with the dismantling of affirmative action. We are going to see even more of it. It's going to go into the corporate sphere. It's definitely going to be something in education, both K through 12 and higher education. This is where this is going. It's an assault on this idea of a plural, multi-ethnic, multi-faith democracy.
Right. And I guess I wonder if you make any difference, you see any difference between like DEI initiatives and the sort of affirmative action aspect of this, that part of inclusion, and the teaching of history and like the words we use around race, racism, and slavery. Like, do you see the court as being maybe more open to the preservation of that kind of learning than necessarily affirmative action, which they're hostile to?
I wish I could say yes about that, but we saw during the affirmative action oral arguments at the court that certain litigants, certain members of the court tried to talk about the fact that this was an issue that was historically contingent. There was a period of time when many of the institutions that affirmative action policies were being challenged at, like Harvard, like the University of North Carolina, did not admit certain groups, including African Americans. And why couldn't that history of exclusion be repaired through race-conscious remedies that were holistic, that considered a wide range of factors, but also included the consideration of race alongside other factors? And, the court wasn't hearing any of it. And instead, a different kind of historical narrative was advanced, one in which Brown versus Board of Education just says, full stop, we don't consider race at all. Too sweet. And that's not really what Brown says, right? Brown is really about subordinating individuals, like the idea of the use of race for the purpose of subordinating, not necessarily the use of race for the purpose of repairing or for remedying past discrimination. Like, they didn't want to hear any of that. It's just no race.
And this is where we're at. I will say education is the dividing line in American politics.
Oh, well, you saw it in this election.
The numbers are upside down. Harris, college-educated voters. Trump, non-college-educated voters. This is our fight. This is it. Melissa Murray, thank you for making the time.